At one point in time, Conor McGregor was the brightest star in the UFC galaxy, who took the sport to another level with his polarizing presence.
I said it last year, we're not here just to take part, we're here to take over.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it, the notorious Conor McGregor!
And sensational performances inside the octagon.
Smiling. Oh! Just slapped him!
But then came the ill-fated Floyd-Mayweather boxing match, and the wheels of fortune turned against the noisy Irishman. Since 2017, McGregor has lost 3 times out of 4, and there's a high chance that he'll drop to 4 against Michael Chandler in a few months. Here's why Conor McGregor is going to disappoint everyone upon his return to the cage in June. Conor McGregor's most recent fights perfectly sum up his one-dimensional skill set. In his rematch against Dustin Poirier at UFC 257, McGregor was picked apart with low kicks due to his stationary boxing stance, which was completely different from how he used to fight back in his heyday. Against Poirier, McGregor fought like a boxer and got his lead leg chopped down, which made him a stationary target for Poirier, who knocked him out cold within 2 rounds. Furious at having lost the fight, the Irishman demanded an immediate rematch and went back to utilizing his psychological warfare to get under Poirier's skin. But he failed miserably once again, losing after breaking his tibia in the summer of 2021.
The fight obviously stopped in a horrible way.
I was boxing the bleeding head off him, kicking the bleeding leg off him. Usual side dive to close the distance. This is not over. If we have to take this outside with him, it's all outside. We don't give a
One of the kicks that he checked is what broke your leg.
There was no check. There was not one of them I checked. Your wife is in me DMs, hey baby. Hit me back up on chat till later.
A few months later, McGregor withdrew from the USADA testing pool to undergo surgery for a new titanium shin bone, followed by a lengthy recovery period that was highly controversial in every way possible. While recovering from his broken tibia, McGregor bulked up significantly, adding a ton of muscle coupled with a subtle change in his appearance that made everyone speculate he was using gym candy to speed up his recovery. While the allegations may have some truth to them, there is no evidence to prove the claims, so we'll leave it at that. But the fact that McGregor bulked up to 200+ pounds does raise eyebrows. When accused of using steroids, McGregor claimed that his muscles were all natural, which was because he heavily relied on weight training in the absence of proper MMA-centered training due to injury. Most of McGregor's recovery period, however, was spent outside of the gym, either partying on his yacht, smacking NBA mascots in the face, or getting accused of sexual assault by random women.
Seen it. Conor McGregor accused of forcing himself onto somebody. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that, we're here to talk about McGregor. He was in Miami, forced a woman into the toilet. His security, the Miami Heat security, they've forced a woman into the toilet, then she's elbowed her way out. Listen, we know McGregor's lost.
McGregor's focus was clearly away from fighting, even when he became a coach on the Ultimate Fighter TV show with Michael Chandler in early 2023. The two were originally scheduled to face by the end of 2023. But McGregor wasn't allowed to compete by USADA without 6 months of mandatory testing. McGregor demanded exemptions several times, but USADA paid no heed, forcing the UFC to cut ties with the Drug Regulatory Authority in late 2023. With USADA cutting ties with the UFC starting January 1st, 2024, McGregor announced his fight with Michael Chandler, and to everyone's surprise, at middleweight.
Ladies and gentlemen, a happy new year to you all. I'd like to announce the return date for myself, the notorious Conor McGregor, for the greatest comeback of all time. Will take place in Las Vegas for International Fight Week.
The notorious one, who started his career at featherweight before moving up to lightweight and having a few fights at welterweight, has won fights in 3 different divisions, and a middleweight win will set a new record. The question is, why did McGregor make such an outrageous move by forcing himself and a natural lightweight in the form of Michael Chandler to fight 2 divisions up? The answer is simple. McGregor doesn't care about making weight anymore. one of the prerequisites of being an elite fighter. He considers his comeback to the octagon as a fun fight, and he is in no shape or form ready to commit himself to a proper fight or potential title contention. If McGregor was actually serious about winning belts, if he was confident enough in his ability to win another title, he would have booked the fight at lightweight, or at most, at welterweight, because he does have his say in the division, but a middleweight move is simply bonkers. Part of the reason why the fight will take place at middleweight is that McGregor has gained so much muscle mass that he'd probably have to kill himself to make 155 again, which is why welterweight is an ideal division for him. But of course the double champ does whatever he wants, so that's not important. The important thing is McGregor's claim that his comeback will be the greatest in combat sports history. We'd believe him if it was the first time he uttered such gibberish, but he has failed to walk the walk after talking the talk since 2017. He talked about the greatest comeback in MMA history against Khabib in 2018 and lost. He said the same before facing Dustin Poirier in 2021 and lost again, which means he's not as good as he thinks he is, or maybe his competition is far superior. MMA is a brutal sport that shifts radically every other week. New stars rise, old ones bite the dust, and the circle of life merry-go-round. McGregor made $100 million against Mayweather in 2017 and forgot about fighting to establish business and lucrative sources of income, which he oversaw with remarkable dedication. But while he was reaping the fruits of his hard work outside of the cage, his peers were constantly evolving and improving inside the realms of fighting. The featherweight and lightweight divisions were getting loaded up with world-class talent, and by the time he realized he was left far behind, it was already too late. It's not that McGregor isn't talented. He wouldn't be where he is today without talent, hard work, and dedication. It's just that he stopped evolving once his hunger for a luxurious life was fulfilled. He refused to train harder than anyone. He failed to learn new techniques and adapt to the changing MMA landscape, and every time he returned to the octagon bar, he realized how far behind he was in terms of skill and fight readiness compared to the likes of Khabib, Dustin Poirier, and Charles Oliveira. The man who was once the most feared guy in all of UFC not just lost but got dominated by Khabib and Poirier, which fueled the fire in him once again. To set goals is one thing, but to work towards achieving them is another, and McGregor is missing the second part direly. In his heyday, things were different. The featherweight division was extremely talented, yet lacking. Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier were way too young, and the rest weren't as good as the guys you see today in terms of well-roundedness and preparation. McGregor was levels above the competition he fought at featherweight, and he used his skills to perfection. As much as people want to deny it, McGregor had a significant size and power advantage at featherweight, which is why his left hook became the touch of death that reduced people into molecules in a blink. But more than anything else, it was his pre-fight trash talking that mentally destroyed his opponents. At lightweight, his best performance came against Eddie Alvarez, and we'd give him that. But apart from that one moment of absolute magic, he hasn't been able to utilize his strengths against other top lightweights. His timing and precision are still there, but lightweights seem to take his shots really well, and when McGregor's left hook fails, he panics. It happened against Nate Diaz in their first fight, and McGregor was choked out. It happened again in the second one, and he was pushed to the limit, and at one point he even ran for his life in the cage. It's not hard to beat McGregor if one can frustrate him by neutralizing his gifts. He gets agitated, he overextends, he expends a ton of energy in going for the finish, and he ultimately ends up gassing out in a round or two. McGregor's muscles are built to devastate, not to last long, which is why a fight at middleweight is bad news for the Irishman. Now, the reason why he doesn't want to cut down to welterweight or lightweight is that he doesn't want to risk another injury after having stayed on the sidelines for 2 years. Weight cutting is a gruesome experience. McGregor will certainly have a massive power advantage at middleweight, but he'll gas out quickly as well unless he finishes the fight in the first 2 minutes. The Irishman seems confident in his ability to take out his American counterpart, but he fails to realize how explosive and powerful Michael Chandler is. If he can crack chins at lightweight, imagine what he can do at middleweight, and imagine how effective his wrestling would be with the added strength. Now, there's a high chance that Chandler may gas out as well since he fights at a blistering pace, but he has certain advantages that are going to be the key come fight night. For a start, Chandler has been competing regularly against the best fighters in the lightweight division, and he's more than ready for a slobber knocker, especially now that he's had a significant amount of rest. Chandler is a vicious man who hits like a truck, and he's very nippy, meaning that he is not an easy fight for McGregor by any means. If anything, he's a nightmare matchup for McGregor at this point. But then again, McGregor never makes hasty decisions. If he has decided to take on Chandler at middleweight, he surely knows what's up, and he wouldn't have signed the dotted line if he wasn't sure that he was battle ready. Now, with the amount of money, luxury, and resources that McGregor has at his disposal, he doesn't really need to fight for a few $1 million, which may seem like peanuts compared to how much he's made over the past few years. But money is not the issue anymore. McGregor is doing this solely for the thrill of prize fighting. He misses it. He wants to move on, but he can't. It's like his drug, and it's understandable, because when you have been doing something for your entire life, it's hard to let it go. The withdrawal symptoms are agonizing, which is why we see guys like Tony Ferguson still fighting, even though they shouldn't. That is exactly why Anderson Silva and BJ Penn fought past their primes and ruined their records. The bright lights, the cheers and boos, the spotlight, the smell of leather, and the gold-studded UFC title, it's opium for fighters. And McGregor is no different. He is a fighter, through and through, and he still wants to reach the highest of highs in MMA. The big question is, can he do it? Can he beat a seasoned campaigner like Michael Chandler, who loves a challenge and thrives under bright lights? McGregor has the tools to pull off the unthinkable. He has that left hook that can sleep any man on the planet. But does he have the precision and timing? As good as Michael Chandler is, he fights fire with fire, and he often puts his chin on a platter for his competitors to feast on. McGregor is the last person who you'd want to expose your chin to, because he is, as he says, a double-barrel shotgun. One miss, and boom, it's all over. Knowing Chandler, he will most probably stand and trade with McGregor because he likes to entertain the crowd, and there's nothing more nerve-wracking than a stand-up fight involving the world's biggest combat sports star. Every time Mystic Mac enters the cage, MMA fans remain on the edge of their seats, and the summer of 2024 won't be any different, because both Chandler and McGregor have a massive aptitude for violence. The only problem is that McGregor doesn't look like he is ready to battle the best guys in the world. Maybe he'll be in better shape a few months from now, but right now, unless he cracks Chandler early and blows the roof off with a sensational comeback, the chances of him making it to the top again are few. He doesn't have it in him anymore, and even if he somehow manages to defeat Chandler, there will be a long list of killers waiting to hunt him down, both at lightweight and welterweight. He's the feistiest meal in MMA, the famous red panty night, and 8 out of 10 guys would love to smack some sense into him for millions of dollars. There's also a high chance that McGregor may land a title shot with a win over Chandler because he brings in money and attention. But let's be honest, the Irishman doesn't have more than a puncher's chance against welterweight Leon Edwards and lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. McGregor may even struggle against guys in the welterweight and lightweight top 5 because there are levels to this game and McGregor has downgraded a few. If he loses, McGregor should just ride into the sunset because he's not going to get any better at 35 years old. He should take up fun fights or boxing matches or whatever, but not bouts with elite fighters because that's a dangerous game. In short, if you believe McGregor still has what it takes to be the best fighter in the world, then prepare yourself for a disappointing fight night because in the Irishman's case, lightning won't strike twice. That's how we see it. But of course, we are open to a healthy debate, so we'd love to hear your thoughts on whether or not Conor McGregor can make it to the top again. If you like the video, please subscribe to our channel and turn on those notifications. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.